good day and welcome to this edition of the Referee's Corner here on IslandStats.com. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and joining me is obviously Natasha Trott from CONCACAF FIFA assistant referee. And we have two visitors to the island, no stranger in iRoots, as well as Jamar, gentlemen, Jamar Springer and iRoots. You guys are here in Bermuda. Welcome, first of all. Thank you very much for taking up the opportunity to come to Bermuda and assist us in ensuring that some of our matches get played and our season gets completed. iRoots, is this your first time to Bermuda?
Yeah, this is my first time to Bermuda.
Okay, and Jamar, I know this is your first time as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. How have you guys found, well, you've been involved in some games, so how have you found the matches, you know, and what you're used to in obviously for iRoots in Antigua and Jamal for you in Barbados? How do you find the matches? Anyone?
I personally find that the matches, well, the Premiership matches that I did, they were very competitive, and I find that the guys have good skill. They also just don't kick the ball back and forth, but they try to develop play, and they also have, like, I would say, like a understanding of the game as well. So it wasn't very like difficult, or I would say it was very boring, and you had some challenging moments where you felt like if you were really being made to think and being made to operate at your highest standard.
What about you, Iris?
Well, the game was interesting. Back home, my teams back home, they play faster than your teams. So every country gonna have their different style of playing. The game was good. The team they put on the effort, play hard as they can. I enjoy every match I do, from the smallest to the biggest.
Sure.
I make the best of it. So that is my job. So I have to do it properly, you know.
Sure. And Natasha, welcome back. Just completed the Women's World Cup qualifiers. Looking at how you had to adjust to things overseas, Dominican Republic, right?
Yep.
Yeah. How did you find that different to Bermuda?
I think that, well, the team that I had, the pace of the game was pretty fast. It was actually faster than our men's Premier League team, but it wasn't too far off. It wasn't like a huge difference, but it's definitely a difference. It was a good adjustment there. I did the senior women's qualifiers, and then it was the under-20 tournament,
right,
which was also high standard.
For you, Jamar, when you do international matches, not just domestic matches, but when you're doing international matches, what are some of the things you go through to ensure that you are fully prepared to get the maximum out of yourself for each game? Because whenever there's international matches, they all seem to be back to back kind of thing. But what do you do? How do you prepare yourself physically and mentally in preparation for an international tournament? Jamal, you hear me? I think he's frozen. What about you, iRoots?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
When I preparation myself, first you never know who the teams are, the team style of playing, know the key players, do your homework on the whole team and the technical staff as everything. So put all together and prepare yourself how you need to operate, all the danger players, who play rough, who play simple, who the skill player, so you can protect every player on the field. That make your work more easier, much better. And get your mindset as ready as possible, ready for the game.
Sure. Jamar, can you hear me now?
Yeah, but well, I heard most of the question, so I would agree with what Irut said. For me, the preparation is really to know the teams. If you can get footage of the matches and some of the information on the players of both teams, that is absolutely crucial because the more information you have going into the match, the better prepared you are to deal with the players, with the incidents, with the style of play, and you can anticipate and get way ahead of the game. So I think that that's very crucial, and more so is your preparation to make sure that you're fit and you're able to really go as hard as you can for that 90 minutes, because you don't want to go into a match and not be able to fulfill the game in terms of running, in terms of being able to position yourself to make those calls.
Natasha, is this some of the things that you're hearing from your colleagues when you get to international tournaments, how to prepare?
Yep, literally the exact same.
Yeah.
Try to watch the games before, make sure that you're fit. Yep, it's the same thing.
Okay. Now, for you, Tasha, your preparation's got to be will be a little different because we have 3 assistant referees where these guys would have referees, well, Jamal's a referee, and assistants working together kind of thing. How difficult is it just having the assistant referees and not having a referee of the same level? When I say the same level, I mean on the FIFA list, on the CONCACAF list, that sort of thing, to train with. Now you have an opportunity to train with these guys or get tips from these guys, but it's not on a regular basis.
I feel that it's not that big of a difference in Bermuda. We have some quality they're not FIFA, but they're quality enough to train with. We have some men that have been refereeing for like 15 years plus, so that it all helps. All the experience helps. FIFA or not FIFA. And Dwight, we have Tashawn, Amari that's coming up that can all help us to stay in shape and keep our minds going with the laws and everything, challenging us while we're working towards whatever we're working towards. It's pretty helpful.
Sure, good. Jamal, how did you get started in officiating?
Well, I was officiating from school days, various sports, and one of my favorite sports was always football. I would always watch the Premiership and everything. So on my way to the gym one afternoon, I met a guy who I work with, and I was quite surprised when he told me he was a referee. So I told him that I was interested and I wanted to learn, how to referee football as well. So he sent me the information. I went and I did the course, and much to my surprise, I actually was on top of in terms of the person with the most marks. I actually aced the test. So everyone was just pushing me to just get behind the whole football scene and just try to make something big of it.
Now, Roots, for you, when you go to international competition, let me take you back to the first time you've done an international match away from home, and you have to now get to know your team. How do you manage to do that and make sure that everybody is on the same page or just being around each other in enough time to feel comfortable enough to do a match together?
Well, it's football understanding. I can work with anybody. Just know the style of the referee. All the referee told me what he want me to do, and I will do exactly what he need me to do. So, not such a big deal, not because they come from a different country or a different atmosphere. It's the same game we all do. We all know football. We all the referees. So as long as all the referees, you all know how to do the game, and every referee had a part to play. So the referee is the whole control the whole team. My job is to assist the referee as the best of my ability. So it's not such a hard thing.
Sure. And Jamal, for you as a referee going into a match, what are some of the things you're telling your ARs prior to the match, to look out for, to assist you with?
Well, basically, I want my ARs to be as comfortable as possible. I don't want to bring anything new to them that they haven't been exposed to, something that we usually do at home, you know. Sometimes persons try to impose a lot of their normal standards and practices from home on their ARs, and I find that that makes the situation a lot more difficult. So I want them to be comfortable, and I want to find out what they are comfortable doing so that I don't get any surprises. Because one of the things that we have been taught as referees is to never be surprised by anything, by the players, by your own officials, or anything that happens on the field. We're always supposed to be prepared. So I just want us to be comfortable, and I just want that we have an understanding even before the whistle blows of how we are going to operate.
Natasha, can you just explain a bit about where you, like you said, you done the World Cup qualifier, the senior World Cup qualifier, and then you went to the under 20 matches there. Can you just explain how you adjusted with the teams that you ended up working with, you know, at the two different events?
Yeah, it actually worked out well. So the World Cup qualifier game that I had, the team was all English speaking, so the language barrier was fine. There was no language barrier. I had worked with one of the ARs, the other AR. I had worked with her in the under 17 tournament just a few months before. And then the fourth official, I had met her also at the under 17. So it was kind of two familiar faces that I was working with in that game. The center referee, I didn't know her, but she's well experienced, been to a World Cup already. So she just let us know what she needed from us, and it was pretty easy. And then in the tournament, all of us went to the same under 20. We continued on to the under 20, and I ended up working with the center referee again. So that game was easy. And then in two of the games I had the same AR in two of the games. And then, so that made life easy also. It was just pretty smooth. Like Iroot said, the game is the same. The rules are not changing. The laws are not changing within the game. So just knowing your role, knowing what the referee expects from you, which comes from a pre-game match discussion, and just helping the game to run as smoothly as possible by the talks that you have with the referee before.
Jamar, obviously, when you blow the whistle, only 50% of the people are happy because it's going against. How do you block out the other talk of, you know, what are you looking at, ref? You know, are you, you know, the usual calls from players, spectators, and the like?
Well, for me, it is, I know what I am going to accept in terms of verbal communication from the players. So I guess after doing so many games, your ears are only going to be pricked to certain rhetoric. So if I hear the players with the usual moanings and groanings that you would normally expect from a call, I'm not going to be too too bothered. But if it is like a lot of disrespectful communication where they're disrespecting myself, my officials, or other players or other teammates, coaches, or whatever, I would tend to stamp that out because, football is a very family oriented sport, and, we expect a certain standard from the players. So for me, it is no disrespect, and your moanings and groanings are, quite understandable when you don't get your call.
And I root for you. Obviously, the same question, I root, because everyone's temperament's a little different, and some might tolerate a little more. So how do you handle it?
Well, personally, I blocked out all the spectators when I enter the field. So whatever we do, call correct or incorrect, we stick with our decision at all times. So not because the spectator can say, oh, this and that. I cannot hear the spectator. I focus on my work at all times. Just as Jamal said, most of the things the same.
Right.
You don't make players get to your head. If players get to your head, your game gonna get thrown off completely. So you always be above them.
Right.
Some players not gonna like the call, some will like it, some players will understand, some will not. But at the end of the day, is the referee the last, the referee call is final. So you got to be positive and strong when you make that call. Like you blow penalty. You don't have a penalty, you be confident, you're present by being there. So the call. But if you're far away, everybody gonna think, even though it's a penalty and you're far away, everybody like, where you do way behind never see that call? So you're present, make you present knowing and your actions. And player will respect you from the moment, your body language and everything. Player will know, okay, this is a serious referee. This referee don't come for no sharpness today, so you're not gonna take no talk on us, so we have to be our best behavior. So just simple things. Make your job easy, make life easy.
Great. Tasha, for you, listen, having going to international competition and having the spectators so far away, is that more comfortable for you? Because I mean, most of our grounds here, the fans are right on top of you, looking over your shoulder, and you know, and you're right there. So, is that more comfortable for you at the international level, being that the spectators are so far away?
No, I wish they were closer. The banter is so fun. I mean, you block it out usually, but sometimes when you are listening to what the crowd is saying, it's hilarious. I think the fans being close keeps me on my toes with my decision making and everything in a game. I love it in Bermuda. I wish that the stadiums had closer seats internationally.
Well, that's something we grew up on. What are the
Yeah.
what are the fields like in Antigua? Are the crowds like right on top, or do they have grandstands, or how does that situate?
Well, in certain fields, the crowd right on the line. So when you run on the line, you either one on them or push them down or one in the field. In certain games when the field really full because you don't have no fans like Bermuda. So some of the field are one and two fans, but some are not. So with the stadium now, when you play the Premier League, they're in the stand. So you're alone on the field. But like the second divisions and stuff, then when you're running on fans, you have asked fans to just back. Sometimes the game is so intense that the fans like them playing as well too.
Wow.
So I custom to that. That is just like natural, you know. Sometimes the game is say one inside the field. The game have to play.
Right.
The fans with them team, so you just still gotta do your work. Nothing much.
What is it like in Barbados?
Well, it depends on the competition being played, but our Premier League is played at the Barbados FA headquarters. So that is an AstroTurf with a grandstand. All of the spectators are expected to be inside of the grandstand, and there is always security there to make sure that everything is nice and orderly. But our first division down to the third division usually is played on the open fields. And as Irut says, depending on the intensity of the match, you're sometimes having to ask players to, just get back from the line or just allow the air to be able to run up and down the line without, being cut off or anything like that. Sometimes the airs have to run on the field because it's so intense that the players, like sometimes the spectators sometimes forget and they come onto the field as well to see what's actually going on. So yeah, it really depends on the level of the level of the match, whether it's third division or Premier League.
Now that you said that the Premier Division is always played on the AstroTurf, is that a bit challenging on the body for especially for the referees? Because a lot of people don't realize the referee does more running than any player on the field.
Well, honestly, for me, I would say that it does not affect me that much because I find that running on the some of the fields there is so undulated and so uneven that I end up sometimes hurting myself a lot more. Having to, like, when you sometimes you might hit a hole that you haven't seen, is just covered by a patch of grass, or you might hit a rock depending on sometimes which field you're on. But the AstroTurf, that is always going to be that constant grade, and The only thing is that probably, I guess, if you run like too many matches per week, it would be kind of telling on your joints, your knees, and your ankles, you know? So it's really a give or take. I can't really say prefer either or.
Mm-hmm. Ruth, can you give us a sense of a training regime for you on a weekly basis, whether you have an international game or you have a domestic game?
Well, training basic for me. We have a training plan, a monthly training plan that we follow from Monday to Friday. But
Mm-hmm.
game will be different. After a game, you have the recovery sessions. You have HI before, like 3 days before your game, HI, and you start preparation the day before for the match. So you have a plan. We have a plan that we follow.
Mm. And Natasha, how did you adjust to that getting ready, because you would have done a game every 3 or 4 days, so you would have had preparation day before, game day, recovery day, and then off day. So how did that work out in the schedule?
It was great. It was pretty. I felt like I had a lot of games. I didn't train that much based on the game schedule that I had. So it was like game, rest day, match day prep, game.
Right, right.
Game, prep, like just yeah. I didn't really have that many training sessions because the games were so close. It was in a 3-day period where
Mm-hmm.
I was able to do a high intensity workout, medium intensity workout.
Mm. And did you do that on your own, or was that with the group, or do they recommend you do stuff on your own as well?
It was with the group. I did work out with some of the Jamaicans before the tournament started. That was
Yeah.
something. They were like, "Let's wake up at 6." Okay. So I did that I did that with them, but the training that I did was usually with the group because they set it out. They have it all in order in your schedule when you need to show up and everything.
Mm-hmm. Jamal, your first call up internationally. Do you remember that call or that email or that however you got invited? What was that like for you?
Well, I guess it depends on which call up it was because my first ever call up was to the U15s, and basically that was for me. Honestly, I didn't understand the gravity of the situation. So when I went very nonchalant, very starry-eyed, and thinking everything was just going to be easy. But I actually got there and realized the undertaking that we had to really go through, and it really changed me because when I actually got my first international call up to do a match, it was at the facility in Bradenton. It was the CONCACAF Nations League match between the USVA and it was Curacao. So I was actually ecstatic for that one because there you were dealing with a lot of quality players playing in Curacao, playing in Holland, and all those other places, and having to deal with those persons that think they're superstars and think they're beyond the other persons. It was like you're dealing with personalities, and you're the referee who has to tell them, no, that's a foul. No, you can't do this and that. And I remember I was absolutely ecstatic for that moment.
Mm-hmm. Ruth, what about you? I know you've talked to us about those call ups, but just which one of those games that you've done internationally stands out for you, and why?
Well, I done many games
Mm,
and I enjoy all of them. So I just kind of pick and choose. If I pick and choose, I pick and choose all.
right.
So yeah, but them games, you have some games that you play with some fans. They like them playing too.
Right.
So them fans are part of the team.
Mm,
Just like you went to Haiti, Suriname, Curacao, Costa Rica, Honduras, the US. All them fans are part of the team. They like them playing. With them fans behind the team play extra. Like they
mm,
get boosts. Yeah, I telling you. Even the club teams as well. The Mexico club team as well. and them other club teams. Them fans does make the game lively and the spirit. The COVID, without the COVID, when they have no fans, it was the team that like was what we playing our training. Because go some game with the empty stadium and the team then like then don't have no zest. Then
Right.
just like then going through a training motion. But with the spectators, you see the difference. You can see the totally difference.
Mm.
So yeah.
Mm. For all three of you, it's human nature to get nervous before a game because you always want to make sure you give your best effort. You've done everything, prepared yourself right, but it's always a bit of a nervousness before a game. So I see Jamal smiling. So Jamal, what is your routine before a game to kind of take all that out of your mind?
I usually tell everyone when they see me that I'm not nervous before a game because I'm more excited because it's like living out a dream. You sit and you watch the guys on TV, the Spanish League, the Premier League, and you see referees go out there and just, have a really good, intense match. And I am always excited to get out there and blow the whistle. So when an assessor sees me, he's like, "Are you nervous?" And I tell him no. I said sometimes they say, "Oh, you must be nervous." I'm like, "No, I really want to get out there."
Irus, what about you?
There's no time to nervous. As I said, it's the same football game.
Mm.
You don't multiple the football game, not because of just different teams, different country. So you always me personally, me always ready.
Okay.
I tell my colleagues they're always ready. So I don't have time to nervous.
Okay.
Always go do your best. The best as always get you through, all the time. Always ready.
Well, Tasha's got the biggest smile on her face.
Because I agree with Iroots. There is no time to be nervous. Like it's gonna be fine. Really do not get nervous before the game. I remember thinking though before this World Cup qualifier, like when I was home in Bermuda before I left, I was thinking, oh my God, it's a World Cup qualifier. Try not to make any mistakes. I think that the thought was there, but that was where it ended for me. It wasn't like, I'm so scared type of thing. It was just like, okay, you're ready. Go there, do the job that you're supposed to do. And it was fine. I'm always hyped up before a game, hyping everybody, hyping up the team before we go out on the field. No nerves. No nerves.
When you would have gotten an invite to come to Bermuda from the head of referees, Cranston Williams, what was your immediate thought?
Well, immediate thought?
Yeah.
Immediate thought to get to do some football games.
I
hope these teams are on the top level as well. Well, no, all the teams are not going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
So on the moment he said, "Hey, you're coming tomorrow or you're coming next week," I said, "Big boss, I'm ready." I said, "All right, that sounds good." So I came ready. All up to now, he said, "I was man, you're right. You come ready."
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Jamal? Because you would have known. You would have had some contact with Bermuda officials prior to that, but you get an invite to come to Bermuda. What's your immediate thoughts?
Well, I was very happy for the invite. We have not had football since the start of COVID, so to hear that, you're being invited and you're able to get back onto the field and, just do what you love the most, that was a very, I would say, a very exciting moment for me.
Mm. And the fact that you had worked with other Bermuda officials ahead before.
Well, yes, I worked with Tashawn and I worked with Randy and Stefan as well at the U15s in 2019. So it was very exciting to know that you're going to come back and connect with those guys. And I haven't met Natasha till we did the game. It was yesterday, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure working with her. I mentioned to Mr. Williams after the match, I was like very impressed with the way that, the whole team gelled yesterday, and Natasha, she just fit in like that piece of the puzzle, it was amazing how we just got on.
She don't talk much. She just keeps smiling.
She talks a lot. She's actually very engaging. Yeah.
I know because when she's got on the headpiece, but you have to pay attention to hear her. She might be talking loud in your ear, but she talks very quiet on the side, especially when she's talking.
Exactly.
But Iroots, how important is it for the officials to communicate, especially eye communication? I know technology has allowed you guys to verbally communicate, but it's also that eye communication. How important is that to remain in the game?
Well, as for when I with any team, the first priority is eye contact. Not because we have the communication. The communication device can fall anytime during the game.
Mm-hmm.
You can fall as the game start, between halftime, between. So that is communication is just to give better information and give the correct information. But eye contact all time between any calls, any decision, always eye contact with the referee. That is priority.
Right. And Jamal,
Communicate.
yeah.
Well, if you read any book on communication, it will tell you that nonverbal communication takes up about, I think, like 80 to 85% of all communication. So, having that eye contact between officials is absolutely crucial because although, as you said, the communication can fall off at any time, but if you realize all three of us have different accents, so is not everything that is said is interpreted the way it's supposed to go out. So that nonverbal communication, we always discuss that in our pre-match. We know how the FIFA laws expect us to communicate, but also what are your little things that you do personally that would indicate to me that you want this or you need that this person has to get a red card without you telling me, or it's a penalty without you having to flag it. So nonverbal is absolutely crucial for the officials.
Mm. And I want to ask all three of you, but I want to ask Natasha first. The getting to know the rules of what is required to make it at the top level and what is expected of you. How often are you in the book? How often are you talking with others to make sure that the what's written is interpreted the same way so the law can be administered the same way?
So we're just talking about the law book, or we're talking about what? Okay.
Yeah.
Every time you have training, I always want to be talking about what are we in agreement of what this law is saying. Just discussions all the time, and especially at the tournament, it was every day. We were talking about the laws of the game and everyone's understanding and making sure that we're all on the same page. Yeah, it's just an everyday thing. So that you know.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, like for me, I take like I daily, like every 30 minutes daily, refresh the memories. Although you know something good, something, still take a little peep at it, refresh day by day. When you go on tour and courses, you must always ready. You never know what kind of question might pop up at the moment. So must always alert, always know the laws of the game. If you don't know the laws of the game, you can't do no football. So you must always know the laws of the game. Although when the change is made, try to get on the changes quickly as possible.
Right.
And get the thing out. So yeah.
I actually on my way to the World Cup qualifiers, I was looking at the laws. I made this cheat sheet in my phone about, I had like laws 1 through 7, and I went through all of them, made like little notes that I think that I would forget, and I wrote them down so that during the time of the tournament, I kept looking back at the fact sheet that I wrote just to keep myself updated, making sure that I know what I know.
Reassuring yourself.
Yeah.
What about you, Jamal?
For me, I won't say that I read the law book from law one straight through, but I would say that I watch football constantly, like almost every day. I'm watching some piece of football. And when I see something in a match, I also imagine myself being the referee. So I would make the calls, some things even before the referee makes them, and also give the sanctions. So if I see anything in a match that I can't recall exactly how it is in the law book. Then I go and grab my law book and I go for that part and I read it through and say, well, yeah, this is it. Reinforce that in my mind that this is the law. And also, I would say that, just going through like the law just for the law is something that doesn't stick to me. So I try to look at the spirit, the intention of why the law was created, so that when I see the infringement being created on the fields, I could say, oh, well, that's a foul, or that's an infringement, or this needs to be dealt with because this goes against the spirit of football. So it is a mixture for me, a unique mixture.
Now, we've all been around football a very long time. And it's always one thing in a game that happens, no matter what game. It could be any game. Something happens, and you're like, "Did that really happen?" Or what? It stands out because it was either funny or one of the craziest things you've ever seen. What one thing in a game that you've officiated in stands out in your mind? Roots?
Oh boy. I don't know how to answer that question. Pass. I'm passing.
You're passing?
Yeah, I'm passing.
Okay, all right. What about you, Jamal?
Well, honestly, I don't think I really had a very, very crazy predicament in any game that I could really say stands right out. For me, it would have to be a goal that was scored, and it was, from very far out, and I was just standing in on amazement at the skill level of the player. But it was more like incredible, more than funny.
Mm. And because Tasha referees Bermuda, she's always got to see something out of the blue.
I actually do have a Bermuda reference. Like in January, it was me, Amari, and Randy on a game, and one of the players did a throw in from his knees, and I feel like we just stood there for a second, like what? Like what was that? That's not. You can't do that in the game. So it took us a minute to be like, beep beep beep. No, it's going the opposite way now because that throw in is not. It's not legal, So that is one that sticks out for now.
Oh, okay. All right. I wrote as a tier two referee, assistant referee. What more pressure does that put on you to stay in that group as opposed to just just getting into that group?
Well, to me personally, there's no pressure. This is always simple for me. Every game, do the best ability you can in every game, and you either remain in your position or again get higher levels. So every game I go to do, I try to aim to get 8.54 up, nothing less. So long you maintain your 8.45 up, you will always earn your spot or gain a better position going forward.
I need you to hang around. I need you to hang around Bermuda a little more and give some other people that attitude that you have right there. Because with that attitude, I think it carries a lot of confidence and goes a long way in the ability of allowing you to even go further. Because some might say, okay, it's casual, it's this, but I'm sitting here, listening to you, and it's just for me, it's confidence in your ability to grow in the sport and go as far as you want to take it in the sport. Jamal, working with someone like iRoots, how does that make you kind of feel, especially not just iRoots, but other people within the region, because you get an opportunity to work with so many others in the region when you go international?
You know, every time that we reconnect, it is always great. You know, time would have passed and new things would have come into play. So it's always just catching up on what's new, what new have you learned, and you know, trying to always find out stuff. Always become, you know, hungry for information and very curious about, you know, the way that these guys are progressing in their respective fields, so that hopefully, you know, you could also progress that same way.
Mm, mm. And Natasha, I know when you first started officiating, obviously, like these guys, the ambition of going to the level you're at right now, and obviously you want to go further, but the level you're at right now, how much has that been a driving force for you personally, not team wise, but personally, to ensure that you continue your journey and reach the goals in which you set yourself?
Yeah, I was actually looking back at pictures that say almost FIFA referee, working towards FIFA referee, and now I'm here. It's like the goalpost keeps moving. So that's the drive, is that it's so much opportunity. So I keep moving. Once I reach where I wanted to go, I just move the goalpost. Okay, this is the next thing. But I also enjoy it in the moment. You know, like I'm happy to be where I am, but I'm also looking forward to what's next, and I'm working towards what's next.
Sure. What's next?
What's next? What's my immediate next? The next phase of the World Cup qualifiers.
Okay.
That's what I want to be next.
All right. Well, I want to introduce the head of referees for Bermuda, Mr. Cranston Williams, who is also the second vice president of the Bermuda Football Association. Good evening, Mr. Williams. How are you?
Good evening, dear Sarah Basin, as well.
Yes, indeed. Well, first, I thank Jamal and iRoots for coming to Bermuda to assist the Bermuda Football Association and our referees in making sure matches get played. But I want to thank you for having the vision and the drive to help not only our local referees, but our regional referees to get more exposure, because if you look at it, this is, you know, having referees and assistant referees come to Bermuda can assist us on the local front in those that have aspirations of becoming international, because they're already there. So having that vision and that drive and that passion, I think for someone even like Natasha, it's a benefit, because now she has an opportunity to train, speak, you know, one-on-one, you know, and just have that conversation and that reassurance that you know, we're not far off from where we want to be.
Well, this was kind of necessitated COVID, I guess you'd say, related, and also the fact that because a lot of games are rescheduled, and we have a very small pool of center referees, so it was a kind of situation where he just reached out, sent out a SOS to people that I knew. It started with Daniel Parchment, Nicholas Anderson, Trisley Basu. Then I reached out to Stefan Dua. Also, there are young ladies that are yet to come, like Stephanie Dale Singh, Crystal Serbas, Odette Hamilton, Jessette, all of who I'm going to say Natasha's girls. You know, so I guess being how I am, and I don't really take no for an answer, it was like I went to the FA and they were like, look, we need referees. And I said, well, and referees, I really know the ones from the Caribbean. So I prefer to have the top tier people or CONCACAF badge, because I also realized we have 3 new people on the FIFA list. And the only way for them to rise is to officiate people that are used to doing matches of a certain caliber. When Parchi and Nicholas came in December, it was just like a total eye-opener for me. You know, I've seen them in international games, but to see them here and the respect that the players gave them, they even questioned would they be staying for the season. Now, these two have come, and I have to single out iRoots. Earl iRoots is the most laid-back I'm seen in my life. When I tell you our roots is laid back, Victor Stewart gave Amari Majors' name Joe Cool. That's my new name for iRoots. iRoots is just laid back. He keeps up the play, nothing phases. I've been watching all this time. Everything he said is correct. Nothing phases. But the guy is just on point. So iRoots, yeah, respect to him. I heard his name all this time from Tashawn and Antoine because they went to the under 15s back in the day together. But I never really met him. So I don't remember how it went, but somehow I got his number. He's been on your show before. And then recently I said, oh, let me reach out to iRoots if he's available to come. And he's like, boss, man, you let me know when you want me, I'm there. Sure enough, here he is. Jamal I heard about from Alana and Kevon. So Stephen and Randy told me about him as well. So I said, okay, well, let's see what he can do. And then he came. So, thank you. But the plan, like you said, Earl, to make sure that football improves and also knowing people like Natasha going away on a regular basis, I have to make sure that she has the persons that are used to traveling and, the standard that's required. It's not a slight on the other people heard, but facts are facts. We know what CONCACAF is looking for. So that's how all this came about. It wasn't just, I guess I was volunteered that this is what I had to do. So here they are.
And again, I want to thank you guys for taking up the opportunity in coming to Bermuda to assist us here. Wow, you just named off a powerful group of women. When they coming?
We're working on that. We are working on that. There's a couple of others in there. Who is it? Narissa. Who are the other ones? Like that's about 6 or 7 of them. We already got them lined up to come.
Okay. All right. Okay. That'll be something to watch. But again, I want to thank Jamar and iRoots because what you guys don't realize you're able to do in Bermuda is give an opportunity to our officials to work with you guys as well as the players to get an opportunity to work with you guys as well. And it kind of raises the standard of not only officiating but the game itself. And also teaching some other rules that some people might have thought they knew the best of, because clearly even some coaches think they know a rule, but they get educated. They get educated as the game goes on. And a lot of times, I'm going to tell you, a lot of times the Bermuda referee is correct in what they say, but it's not taken. But if one of you guys said the exact same thing, it'll be okay, ref. I understand. Sometimes you have to hear the as Jamal you said. You all speak a different accent. So sometimes that different accent is what is needed sometimes to reassure people of what the game is, and that is a correct statement. You're helping our game to grow. So again, thank you very much, Mr. Williams. Thank you for allowing me to have this time with these three. I know Natasha's becoming another. Like I was speaking to iRoots before the show started. He's been on a few times now. I tell him he could be the co-host, if not the host. So yeah, Joku will be hosting. Joku will be hosting next season. How's that?
That works for me.
That's only if he comes to Bermuda. Figure out a way to get it.
iRoots wants to live here. He already made that clear yesterday. He's looking into getting a house, the Hill 9. He said, I want to live in Bermuda. So,
boy.
Yeah. Already got that sport.
All right. Well, you got another job to fulfill.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you all very much for your time this evening. We look forward to matches you guys will do continuously on the island until your departure. Good luck. Natasha, if I don't speak to you again before you do your next international one, good luck. You represent the country very well every time you're on international duty. So keep up the good work. And Mr. Williams, turn the page. You got another job to do, mate.
Before you go, sir, I would just like to publicly state to everybody, I want to thank you for your continued support of our local referees, because you seem to be the only person that writes or prints or does anything positive about refereeing on this island. So I want to publicly thank you, Mr. Earl Basin. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome, sir.
Enjoy your evening. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.